It is 2:30, so I'm going to make a start. Welcome to Vitali-tea, Young Dementia Network's Tea Time webinar. Great way to start off the new year, 2022. Before I hand over to Catherine and our lovely panelists here to introduce themselves, I'm just going to remind the panelists that unless they mute themselves, they will be able to be seen and heard. But attendees not able to be seen and heard. But we do encourage you very much to use the question and answer function, the question function. Put your questions into there because we're going to leave enough time at the end to be able to have a to and fro with that. But also do use the chat function. It's great to be able to share all different experiences using the chat function. So do go ahead with that. I think that's probably it for today. So I'm going to hand over to Catherine to introduce everybody.
Thank you, Tessa. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Catherine Kiley. I am the Young Dementia Network Coordinator working with Tessa. So welcome to our webinar today, which is entitled Vitality, Keeping Well Following a Diagnosis of Young Onset Dementia. Our webinar is going to look at how good nutrition, physical activity, mindfulness can have a positive impact on the lives of people with young onset dementia and their families. So we are delighted today to be joined by our panelists, which I'll introduce to you now. First of all, today we'll be hearing from Diana Smith-Harris, who together with the Young Dementia Leads created a book called Eating Well with Dementia. Diana is going to talk about the positive impacts of eating well and maintaining good nutrition, all based on her own experience of caring for her husband, Eugene, who had young onset dementia. We'll then hear from Sara Addison, who runs the Young Onset Dementia Activists group in Bromley. Sara will be talking to us about the importance of physical activity for people with young onset dementia. Sara is going to be joined by Bev and Kev, who attend her group, and they're going to talk to us about the impact these activities have had on their lives. And then finally, we'll be hearing from Julia Powell, who will be talking to us about the benefits of using mindfulness and relaxation techniques. Julia is a mindfulness teacher and has a special interest in dementia after caring for her mum. So without any further ado, I will hand over to Diana, who will talk to us about nutrition. Thank you, Diana.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Diana. I'm based in Leeds and I'm a retired social worker, but I'm on the steering group for the Young Dementia Network. So they've asked me to talk today about the book that I've been involved in, Eating Well with Dementia, and also about nutrition. It's really important when people have got dementia that they eat healthy, they don't eat processed foods, and it's really difficult at times. You don't always have time to cook a decent meal, but we got together as a group through Young Dementia Leads to actually look at how we could, you know, make it more nutritional. How could we teach people to really look seriously about the kind of food, and it involved batch cooking and whatever. So we started off on a weekly basis. We'd had different recipes that we put together. Some were cakes, some were soups, and they were from all different parts of the world as well. So I introduced some of my Caribbean culture as well. So it was a goat curry that I introduced, and some jerk chicken, which was a bit spicy, but they enjoyed it. But everyone had a go. We actually worked together as a group. So it was also a group thing as well. And it helped us work together to sort of learn about nutrition, and also that thing about historically about the food that we liked when we were younger. You know, was it fish and chips? Was it pies? Was it a really nice hearty soup when you came in when it was cold? So we all got together and we had these recipes put together. We were looking that we've got a grant from Harnessing the Power of Communities. So we're able to use that money to actually put the sessions on, and then obviously do lots of sheets every week with all the recipes so people could take them home. And eventually we had some money left over, and we asked if we could print a book, and they said yes. So, you know, it's gone really well. The nutritional thing for me was really important. My husband, Eugene, had young onset dementia. He loved salmon. Salmon's meant to be good for the brain, they say, but that was one of his favourite foods. But I think it's important that people try and eat healthy foods. And it's really difficult at times when you're caring for somebody. It can be difficult. You know, you don't always have time to make a a full meal because, you know, depending on how your day has gone. So we, as I said, we talked about batch cooking, things that you could make quickly, you know, and try not to waste food as well, because how often do we all have things in the fridge that we end up throwing away because we think, oh, what can we make with this? But we made some lovely healthy soups, parsnip soups, minestrone soup, some African tasting soups as well. But nutrition was really important to the group and they really enjoyed it, and we got everyone involved, chopping onions, chopping vegetables. It was really good, and at the end of each session we cooked a meal, so we all sat together, so it was a social thing as well. We all sat and ate a meal together and talked about what we'd done and how well it had gone. So it's important for nutrition, not only for the person that you're caring for, but for the carer, because obviously, you know, we need to keep healthy. We've got somebody to look after. So it's important that we keep ourselves healthy. And you haven't always got time. And this was a way of actually saying to people, look, you've got time, you can, when you've got a moment, if it's an early evening, do some batch cooking and hopefully you'll be able to put that in the freezer for a day when you can't cook a full meal. So it was really exciting to do the book. We've got a little caption from Brian Turner, who's, you may have seen him on the TV, but he's a really local cook to Leeds, so he supported us. We got dietitians involved to look at the recipes that we put together to make sure that they were nutritional and that we'd covered everything and that we talked about the right fats and things like that. So it was really good. So it was a joint effort, really. We really enjoyed it and it's been well received in the area. But for me, yes, it was good for my husband to be involved. He wasn't an excellent cook, but he didn't mind, you know, eating the food at the end of the session. So he did get involved. And I really enjoyed it. I'm a cook and I love to cook, but didn't always have the time because obviously depending on the day that my husband was maybe not in a good mood or having a bad day, it gave me opportunity to think about what I could make. So it's really important, it's nutrition in my eye, and that people need to be fully aware of it and just think of eating fresh things like fresh vegetables and fish and meat and things, if you know, depending if you're not a vegetarian, but making sure that you're eating more fresh food and that it's not processed food. There's so much of that around and it's so easy to get an easy dinner from the supermarket and warm it up. And occasionally you can do that because you have to. But what we were sort of promoting was that really try and do fresh food wherever possible, and it'll help the person that you're caring for and bring back memories, as I talked earlier. It's, you know, it brought back memories for people of the type of food that they used to enjoy, and for somebody with dementia, for able to taste something and think, oh yes, we used to have that on a Friday night, it was fish and chip night or it was whatever night, was really important. So for us as a group, it was brilliant, and we all got something from it and became really close friends. We were a group already as carers, but it did actually pull us together, and that was part of it as well. It wasn't just about making food and sitting down, it was also us gelling as a group and learning from each other. So it was excellent, I really enjoyed it, and as I say, it's been well received. We're hoping that, you know, next thing will be TV, who knows? We've got on the local radio, I've been on Women's Hour promoting the book. I'm here today, which I'm really pleased that people have come along to listen. But who knows, we'll try and get on one of the local programmes, I think, because that's the way we want to promote it, and it's about promoting eating well with dementia. The book is available on Amazon if people are interested to purchase it, and the money goes back into the hub in Leeds. But most importantly for me, it's about sharing our experience and making sure that people are eating well with dementia, and that you're able to look at the recipes. They're all in colour, so there's, you know, lots of really nice pictures and all the ingredients. As I say, we've had a good dietitian who's looked at it and decided that we are actually following it in a nutritional way. So it's been an very exciting venture. As I say, I'm involved with the Young Dementia Hub in Leeds, and we do lots of activities, and this just was one of the things that we do, but we meet on a monthly basis and we run a cafe. So as a group, we're still meeting and we still talk about the recipes, and we actually use some of the time to produce a recipe. So every cafe once a month we'll decide what we're going to cook. So if it's a really cold day, we'll make some soup or whatever, and different carers will bring it in as well, so it gives them an opportunity to contribute. It's not just one person that's doing the food or whatever. So it's been really good. I hope that you've learned something about nutrition and how important it is, and that try wherever possible to cook fresh food. And if you're not a brilliant cook, the recipes are really easy to follow. We had some people that had never cooked much before, and they really got into it and they really enjoyed it, and now they're starting to make more and more recipes, and you can share it with family as well. So if you're not a good cook, get some of your family members to make some of the things for you. So it's really interesting. It's really worth looking at. It's really worth thinking about. And as a carer, it was brilliant for me because I could think about cooking food that was going to be nutritional and interesting, and would help my husband in terms of his dementia and get him to eat, really, because appetite can change over time as well. So it's again reenacting the taste buds, really, and sometimes trying things a bit differently. My husband was very traditional. He didn't like things that were very spicy, but I noticed that his taste buds changed, and he started eating more interesting things. So I think this book helped him to sort of change some of maybe the things that he said he didn't like, that he actually started eating and didn't realise he didn't like them. So it worked really well. I was really pleased with how it went, and for him it was a social thing, and he was able to go to the hub and taste some of the lovely food, and that was the best part for a lot of them. And there's a few comments in the books, and a lot of them said, yeah, the best part was the eating bit. They really enjoyed actually eating it, not cooking it so much, but definitely eating and tasting. So I hope that some of you will have a look at the book and think a bit more about nutrition. So I'm not think I've got anything else to say at the moment. I'm happy to take any questions. I think we might do them at the end, or if there's anything really quick, unless there's anything really quick that's on the chat that I can answer now, I'd be happy to do that.
I think, yeah, we can do some questions at the end, Diana, but I just wanted, if you could share your experience of caring for your husband, if you felt like the food that you were giving him would change his journey with his dementia, and by giving him nutritious food would change things when you were caring for him.
Well, I was caring for Eugene. So Eugene was diagnosed in 2016. And again, it was young onset, so it took a few years to actually get the diagnosis. But for me, yes, I think it helped him in terms of making sure that he ate some food. My husband was an avid walker. He loved to walk. He'd go out 3 times a day for a walk. And for me, it was really important to get the calories into him, because he was walking, he was actually burning quite a few calories. So I felt it was important to look at his nutrition, look at the food that I was giving him to keep the calories in, because he was actually starting to lose weight because he was so active. He needed to get the calories in. So for me, that was really important. And I wanted things that would be interesting for him, things that he liked. As I said, salmon was his favourite dish. He'd eat it every day if I gave it to him. And I did most days, but he really liked salmon. That was his thing. So for me, it was really important because of the way that he was and how active he was. I needed to get the food into him. So nutritionally, he needed to get lots of different things. Because he was just losing weight. He was just so active. So for me, that's what I did, and I think that it helped him in terms of his memory. He remembered what he was eating. And I'd say, "What do you want to eat tonight?" He'd say salmon, or he'd say he'd want spaghetti bolognese or something. So he remembered. He sort of, his taste buds. He would remember what. Maybe sometimes I could ask him, "What would you fancy tonight?" And he would often say what he would like to eat. So it got his taste buds buzzing again, and him thinking about what he wanted to eat, and the memories and things that he used to eat when he was younger. And he'd talk about what things his mum used to make that was similar to what I made. So it did actually help him in that respect, yeah. That's
great. Thank you, Diana, for sharing that. And I think you've got the book there. Can you just hold it up so that we can see the front cover? Everybody, there we go. So Eating Well with Dementia. So there's the book that Diana has created with Young Dementia Leads. So
and I'm actually on the front cover.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Diana. That's great to hear from you. So we're going to move on now and hear from Sara Addison and talk about activities and the importance of keeping active. So over to you, Sara.
Hi, everybody. So I'm going to talk to you about YODA, Young Onset Dementia Activists. It's a group run under the umbrella of Bromley, Greenwich Mind, but under the Mind Care remit. And it was a project that was developed basically because we wanted a service specifically to meet the needs of people with young onset dementia. We want it to be developed by those people. So it started off with a pilot and then it's continued as Yoda. Beverly and Kevin are two of the people accessing the groups. They're both Yodas. And we like the name Yoda because it doesn't sort of put a label on the person with dementia or the carer. They're just Yodas. And they're going to talk about some of the things we've done. But one thing that came across right at the beginning of the pilot was how important it was to do physical activity, particularly dance. That was something that everybody wanted to do. And also walking was a really popular activity. And that actually we went on to do a 5K walk because that was something that people really enjoyed doing. And then we did a series of other physical activities. So I think the best thing to do is hand over to Beverly and Kevin because they're the people that are in the group. They're the people that have shaped the group, and they're the people that can tell you how they've enjoyed the physical activities and what other kind of things we've done. Yeah, so I'll hand over to them now and they can tell us more.
Thanks, Sara.
Cheers.
We decided early on that we didn't want to join any groups where Kevin was just going to be sitting around talking about his dementia. I mean, you know, you've got dementia. We just want to live, and we want to get on and live quite well. Don't always have the money to do lots of extravagant things, but being in the group with other people like-minded, it's very strange because they're not all the same type of people. We're all different, but we all seem to enjoy the same activities.
Yeah.
So we've done the walking. We've been as a group to a riding centre for disabled children, where we learnt about the disabled riders and the horses, and then we had tea and something to eat. And it's just this whole getting out and doing something. It's so much better than just sitting indoors, either watching the television or just thinking. Kevin's never been a great lover of walking. So we couldn't just go out and take a walk up the road because he's really not interested in that. But having joined the group, when we go for walks, when we talk about going for walks, yeah, he's totally up for it because it's a group thing. It's
like today. We went out tonight. I think we've done another 5K. We walked around
High
Elms, and yeah,
with some of the other Yodas. We did the circus, which was just amazing. The circus activities, you know, you laugh, you think, oh yeah, so we'll go on the trapeze, but we did. We got to go on the trapeze. We got to do tightrope walking and things that you wouldn't think that you were able to do. I mean, you know, I know it's young onset, but we're still of an age where you think, oh, I'm not going to be able to do that. And even those who thought they wouldn't be able to did something. And it brought such joy to so many of them to just do these activities. You know, hula hoop. Who would have known that hula hoop would make you laugh so much? It was it was amazing. We did 3 weeks of that one. We did something every week. And yeah, it just lifts your spirits. It just lifts everything about your week. You will always look forward to Fridays because Friday means activity, even if it means sitting in a chair, doing exercises, or going in the garden, doing a bit of work in the garden, just connecting with people and doing something physical. It keeps you going. So yeah, it's made a huge difference.
Go out afterwards, can't we? Gonna have lunch.
Kevin, do you want to tell us a bit about your shed project? So you wanted, you love gardening, and tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't go into much gardening, but since I've had this dementia, I've been making boxes up to plant stuff in, and so I'm down in the shed making boxes up.
But you did the shed at the group, didn't you? In the group garden. You emptied the shed
out. We emptied the shed at the hub, cleaned it all up around the outside, got all the muck off it, so it's all clean and tidy now. We just got to do something in it. but we put the window back in it, which was lying on the floor. So we fixed that.
We've had a barbecue in the
We had a
garden
barbecue in there, yeah.
that everybody enjoyed.
Yeah.
And we're looking to team up with some people from the local allotment.
Yeah.
So they're looking forward to getting out and doing a little bit of gardening.
I forgot about that. As you do.
But you're looking forward to doing the
Yeah.
allotment, aren't you? We're
Yeah.
going to be buddying up with people, experienced allotment holders, and they're going to let them do clearing up or whatever it is, you know, just
need to
helping
do.
out and learning, being outside and talking with people, isn't it? And
Yeah.
learning different things. So yeah, that's something to look forward to in the spring.
Yeah, and we've also, remember Kevin and Bev, we've also got the cycle riding. So I found that cycling was something that people who had got young onset dementia missed because of the coordination, but we've been offered a cycling activity in the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park where we're going to have tandem cycles, and that's going to be, it's in June, it's in the 12th, but that, you know, they're going to go along, have support to cycle round the Olympic Park, which is something that people might think, oh, I can't get on a cycle anymore now, I've got young onset dementia. So we're just trying to bring activities to people who, you know, you just want to get out there, you just want to live, like Bev and Kev said, they don't want to sit in a chair looking at four walls. So it's about trying to bring those activities in. And I mean, dancing, Kevin loves dancing. Kevin, tell us about your moves. I mean, you've got some moves.
Well, what can you say? It's just dancing, isn't it? You know,
My son-in-law said he's got dance like Jaguar.
Mick Jagger.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not just him, is it? I mean, a few of the others who sit there all quietly,
Marilyn.
and then as soon as the music starts,
Marilyn
they're
and
off.
Carol.
They're off, you wouldn't believe.
And they got some moves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they also remember the songs, because I mean, some people struggle with their language and speech, and when the music comes on, they can remember all the
Marilyn
songs.
does, doesn't she? Marilyn will sing words.
Yeah.
She
And
very rarely speaks.
And our Yodas have a song playlist, which we would love to get on Desert Island Discs if we could one day, where they've all picked their favourite song, and they've created this playlist. And we managed to get a trip up to London where we had afternoon tea in the Ritz, one of the hotels of Langham, and it was quite a ritzy tea with you know, dancing and singing, and everybody managed to get up there in cabs, but they still had to walk a little bit to the hotel, you know, get to the room. And then there was also another trip. Bev and Kev, do you want to tell the group about the trip to the pie mash shop outside your comfort zone?
Oh wow, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Going over the water, different county. Yes, we drove to Essex, and we descended on the pie mash shop. Never had pie mash. I come from London. I've never had pie mash ever. Kevin had never tried the pie mash, but always wanted to.
Yeah.
And you know, you don't want to go anywhere that's a bit iffy. So someone recommended this one, so we went, and it was amazing. We had I mean, like a dozen of us sitting down for dinner, and it was just fun. It was just great.
All laughing.
Yeah. But out of our comfort zones completely. I've never
Yeah.
driven that side of the water before, or because obviously when we were younger, Kevin did all the driving, so now I have to do all the driving, and I was never comfortable motorway driving or anything. Now I have to drive, so now I just get on with it. So yeah, coming out of my comfort zone, talking to people. It's not something I used to do either. And Kevin just lights up on a Friday. It's just amazing. But the music as well. The music is important, wasn't it?
Yeah, music. And Kevin didn't really say much when I first met him, which started on Zoom. But now, Kevin, you're quite a chatterbox.
I don't say much now. I'm still quiet. Oh, little old me.
But it's improved the confidence to, you know, just speak out a bit more. And
I mean, we sort of say that is like Anne. When Anne first came to the group, she did not want to come back, and we was talking to her like here again with buddies, and Lorraine got her to come back, And since then, she's done nothing but talk about it and smile and laugh.
And look forward to
and
coming.
look forward to coming to bowling, looks forward to going to the group and any other activities we've got.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
the choir
she's-
was good at Christmas, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The Christmas carol
Yeah,
session that
was
we
good.
did, that was really
Yeah.
nice. Not something I would have done before. Wouldn't want anybody to listen to me sing normally, but that was good fun.
Yeah, and the group have also got a bucket list, which is something that they'd like to do in the year. We haven't even got round to looking at it properly yet because we've been so busy, but Beverly wants to do a parachute jump to raise funds. We raised £5,000 on our 5k walk, but we're hoping to raise 10,000 with the parachute jump. And Kevin wants to go to Anfield, his favourite football club. So that's very physical. Going all the way to Liverpool.
I'm gonna help you out. Lindsay, for my Christmas present, bought me a ticket to go up to Anfield.
Wow.
On the 19th of March. So I won't be, if that's a Friday, I won't be there.
It's not a Friday, it's a Saturday. I told her not to book a Friday.
Oh, that's amazing. But yeah, we are just trying to do things that are outside, you know, just try new things. Why not try new things? And these are all ideas that a group have come up with. And yeah, there is a lot of physical activity. I mean, Bev mentioned the circus. We managed to get 3 sessions in the circus workshop in Greenwich, and they taught the Yodas how to do different things in the circus. I mean, they were on a bungee, strapped up in a bungee doing somersaults. Kevin was doing that as well. So it's a real wide range of activities, but it just makes, I would say, it helps people to feel better, connect with each other. It brings people together, having an activity to share, new experiences, builds your confidence and self-esteem. It just gives you a really good feeling of well-being and fun. It's a lot of laughs, wouldn't you say, Kevin Bear?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not just that. I mean, it's everybody in the group. When they first came to the group, they wasn't sort of coming out of themselves till afterwards. I mean, we had some people like Carol, was it? She sort of broke down because she was so happy to be in the group, and so it's helped. You know, it's helped everybody.
She's a lot more communicative. Yeah, and same with Marilyn and a few of the others. And obviously, Kevin now talks a lot more than he did before. He never wanted to join any of the groups. He never wanted to go anywhere, and now he wants to do everything.
Yeah.
And just finally, just to add, it is a peer-led group, so peer support group. So now, as a group, as Kevin said, they go out and do things on their own in the week. They organise bowling. They've gone for a walk today, so they meet up for coffee. They go for lunch.
Yeah,
so they organise things for each other themselves without a facilitator, which is fantastic. We're just empowering them to do more themselves for each other and have that support for each other.
Yeah.
All that's missing is more. We want to try and get more and more people to join the group.
So you meant more
because there's that as well.
Yeah, I know.
But no, I mean, there's got to be more people like us out there that
on their own.
On their own, and we could help them.
Yeah.
There's a shout out. There's a shout out for people. At the moment, we're covering Bromley, Lewisham and Greenwich. There's a shout out.
Yeah, I know, but there must be.
Yeah.
But there must be
there is
loads of people around this area themselves.
In all areas, Kevin, there's people all over the country. And they all need this. They all need something. Yeah.
So we can help them.
I think that's a good ending. There you go, Catherine. Over to you.
Thank you. Well, I have to say, listening to you talk about what you do is very inspiring. And you are right, we need lots more of groups like yours across the country to support people with young onset, because you can see just from your faces when you talk about the activities how much it means to you and how important it's been to be able to come together and share something like that, something new, have fun, laugh, and enjoy yourselves. And that's what it should be about. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. That's been really wonderful to hear. And now we're going to move to Julia, who's going to talk to us about mindfulness and relax us all. Thank you, Julia.
Hi, so thank you for that introduction, and wonderful to hear about the Yodas and also the amazing cookery book. As a carer for my mother, I too discovered how important physical exercise and different activities were. And we both explored cooking together, and lots of variety in cooking. So all of that resonated. So I'm going to suggest we do a couple of short practices during this little session, because there's nothing better than actually trying something out than hearing about it. And then I'll talk a little bit about my personal reasons for exploring mindfulness for people living with dementia, and give some background about mindfulness, what it is, so that you can explore further. And I'll produce some links that I'll pop in the chat if anybody does want to explore it further. But before we do anything, my suggestion is, wherever you're sitting, it doesn't matter what position you're in, just if it's comfortable for you, maybe allowing your eyes to close, or if that's not comfortable, maybe just lowering your gaze. So this includes all the panelists. So lowering your gaze or closing your eyes, and bringing your attention into your body. So becoming aware of the sensations in your body, and particularly the places where your body is supported by the ground and the seat. So all the points of contact. And bringing a sense of curiosity, as if you haven't noticed these sensations before. And just allowing your eyes to open again. If we get time, we're going to do a slightly longer one as well. But that's just to give you a little grounding before we go into the talk bit. So my mother had vascular dementia, which actually came on very suddenly after a series of mini strokes. And for her, the dementia brought around high levels of anxiety and distress. And as I was a trained mindfulness teacher, I guided my mum in mindfulness practices. And this involves kind of a range of things. So it can be simply focusing on senses like sight, the sense of smell, taste. So I'm sure in the cookery sessions, you did a lot of focusing on the taste and the smell. Just bringing ourselves into the present moment via our senses is a way of being mindful. And I also guided her in practices, mindfulness practices. So more formal ones where we kind of sit and we focus on sensations in the body or the breath. And just essentially enabled my mum to spend more time in the present moment. And that in itself can be quite powerful. I'll come on to say a bit more about why in a moment. But also I found as a carer for my mum that mindfulness was extremely useful to me. It particularly helped me manage my emotions when my mum was distressed. There was particularly one moment when my mum was very upset and confused, and it didn't matter what I said to try and reassure her. She was getting more and more anxious, and invariably, it was setting me off. I was feeling more and more emotional, and the more emotional I was, the less useful I was to her. And I remembered my mindfulness practice and the idea of coming back to my breath and the sensations of my body and the seat. And I actually stopped trying to fix things, because that's what sometimes we can do as carers, or even just partners to people we love. We're trying to fix things for them, and that doesn't always work. And I noticed, so I stopped talking, I stopped trying to fix things. I still kind of reassured and showed that I was listening, but I noticed that I was becoming calmer. And then I was more able, from a more grounded place, able to be more skillful in the support that I could give to my mother. And, it took a little while, but we got there and we moved on from that situation. And I realized then that that was a really useful, important thing to keep coming back to. So, and with my mum, I noticed the practices helped her, sometimes significantly. But if she was already anxious, a mindfulness practice isn't necessarily the best thing. Sometimes exercise, going for a long walk, or doing something that exerts yourself, because you need to use up some of that adrenaline that's coursing through your body. But then coming to a mindfulness practice can be really helpful. So I did a combination of things with my mum and found them helpful. So why I think mindfulness might be beneficial? As many of you may have heard or be aware of, that often anxiety and depression are common bedfellows for people living with dementia. I don't know if anybody recognises that. If that's the situation for you, it may or may not be. Obviously, with a diagnosis, there can be fears about the future, about the unknown, and also if there's a reduced ability to store new information, this can cause confusion or distress. And so there might be kind of fears about the future, or a focus on things that have happened. And where mindfulness can come in is it can be helpful to help us spend more time in the present moment. At the moment, it applies to all of us. All of us spend a lot of time kind of in our minds, worrying, and this automatic thinking that can go into overload, where we're constantly planning and over worrying about something that's coming. Or we're ruminating about something in the past, neither of which we have a lot of control over. And the thoughts themselves can sometimes be unhelpful. If we've gone around a problem more than 10 times, there's probably nothing we can do with the thinking process. It's probably something emotional that's driving that. And we cannot solve those kind of problems by thinking alone. And we almost need to get ourselves out of that thought process and actually land in the present moment, which can not only be nourishing, but it can help us to view particular problems from a different angle. So it can be nourishing, and it can give us our minds a bit of a break from the loops that we sometimes get caught in. There's now a huge body of peer-reviewed research that demonstrates that mindfulness is effective, particularly to help reduce incidence of depression for people who've suffered 3 or more incidents of depression. Also, the evidence is showing that mindfulness can reduce anxiety and improve well-being. And the 8-week mindfulness-based cognitive therapy course has been proved to be at least as effective as medication. And because of that, it's been approved by NICE, the National Institute for Health and Care Excellence, and is provided on the NHS, but it's patchy depending on which NHS trust you have. So the evidence is definitely falling down on the side of its effectiveness. It's early days for research into the impact of mindfulness for people living with dementia, but even there, the first indications that are coming out is very positive. So, and we would hope that in time there would be more evidence there. So what is mindfulness? I'm going to read a definition slowly, because there's a lot in there. And then I'll just maybe quickly describe it. Mindfulness, there's numbers of definitions, and I hope this one is a good one to choose, but they all say about the same sort of thing. So mindfulness is awareness that arises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment with kindness and curiosity. That's the Oxford Mindfulness Centre definition, and they're the group that's set within Oxford University. So I'm just going to say it again, and I can pop it in the chat too. So mindfulness is awareness that arises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment with kindness and curiosity. Another way of looking at it is mindfulness is training for the brain. So if you think about how busy our brains are, how busy our minds are, the mindfulness practices can help us to, at will, decide, we're going to focus our attention now on our breath or sensations in the body and bring ourselves into the present moment, which can be hugely powerful, particularly if we find we're getting upset or anxious about something. But just like any other kind of training, it doesn't, it takes training. So we wouldn't go to the gym and lift one weight and expect our bodies to be amazing immediately. So in the same way, we would expect to develop our capacity with practice. The more we do it, the more we're able to kind of focus our attention at will. And I think this is really important because we do spend a lot of our lives, a lot of our time every day caught up in our automatic thinking instead of being very present for the moments that we have now. And that's what's really precious. We kind of lose a lot of the moments we have now. And so the more we can actually kind of train our mind to kind of focus on the riches in our everyday life, like the taste of the food, the sound of the birds, the dew on a petal, the more we enrich our lives. So that, that's another argument for it. So we do have a few minutes to do another little practice. I do have some links that I'll share in the chat and that can go in the email to share how you could look into if you wanted to do a course or get a book or do the practices at home. So I will share those. But I thought maybe we could just stop and do one last slightly longer practice. So starting by getting yourself comfortable in your chair, and maybe having a sense of your back being self-supporting, if that's comfortable for you. So you're kind of sitting with the intention of being awake and alert. And again, if it's comfortable, allowing your eyes to close or simply lowering your gaze. And bringing your awareness into your body. Feeling the sensations of your feet on the floor. And the places where your body is supported by the seat Maybe you can feel the sensations where your hands are resting on your laps or whatever your hands are resting on. And you might notice your mind whirring up and getting busy and wandering off. That is so completely normal. Just noticing, oh yes, there's my mind. And in a very gentle, patient way, bringing the attention back to the sensations in the body. And your mind might be saying, not sure why I'm doing this. It might be getting bored or frustrated. Again, just noticing that. It's all completely normal. And bringing your awareness back to the sensations in the body. And seeing if you can notice the sensations of the breath coming and going. Perhaps you can feel the sensations in the abdomen area. A sense of stretching as you breathe in and contracting as you breathe out. Or perhaps in the chest area, again, a sense of expanding on the in-breath and contracting on the out-breath. Or you might even notice it in your nostrils. A sense of slightly cooler air entering your nostrils on the in-breath. And warmer on the out-breath. Maybe noticing on the out-breath a sense of the weight in your body, maybe allowing your body to get a little bit heavier on the out-breath. Feeling how the ground and the seat are supporting you. And noticing any sounds in the room, however distant. Could be a whir of sounds coming from the laptop. Tiny sounds off in the distance, or even the sound of my voice. And on the next out breath, and in your own time, allowing your eyes to open and coming back into the room. And maybe just, if you need to, kind of stretch your shoulders or getting yourself comfortable. So that was just a little bit of a practice for you. And I'll share in the chat some details about how you can find out about courses and ways of doing mindfulness.
Thank you, Julia. That was a really lovely way to finish the talks. I feel very relaxed after that. It was lovely. Well, thank you to all of our panelists for sharing your experiences today. I'm just going to have a look through and see if we have any questions. I haven't seen anything come through. If anyone does have any questions, please pop them into the chat or into the Q&A, and our panelists can answer them. Just a question here, Sara, about the group. Somebody says, where is the group held? It sounds really good. They're in Medway. Is that in your area?
Yeah, we're in London. Well, we're in Bromley, but we hold the group in Beckenham. So yeah.
So we're out of your area.
Yeah, but I think there is there are other groups in London. If you go on the Deep network, they can give you all the, if you put the area that you're in, they'll give you the groups around you. So that might be something to do.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And also within Dementia UK, we have in our Young Onset Dementia section, we have a find support tool for people to locate groups specifically for young onset in their area. So that's a really good place to look as well, to find support within your area. And also, if anybody knows of groups that we haven't got listed, then also we're always keen to hear about other services and groups for people with young onset, because we know it's an area that people are always looking for specific services for them. So yeah. And Julia, I noticed you've put some information about mindfulness in the chat there. We'll make sure that that's in the follow-up email to people as well, so that they can obtain the information. So Julia, if, as a new person wanting to start mindfulness, what would you recommend? Like, where do you begin? Is the best thing to do at a course, or what's your thoughts?
I think I do think that the easiest way, there's so many live courses available locally around the country. So the easiest thing to do, sorry, I've got a frog in my throat.
It's okay.
I think the easiest way, the most supported way, is to attend a group. But of course, with COVID, this isn't always possible, and also with very busy lives, this isn't always possible. And the way I was introduced to mindfulness was through this book, which is, in fact, I've put in the link here. It gives a really good rationale about why mindfulness is helpful. And it has a little 8-week course that you can follow. And of course, you can do that course in 16 weeks if it takes you. It took me a lot longer than 8 weeks to get through it. So it's flexible. You can do it how you want. But there's also, because of COVID, there's now a lot of really good courses available online. So the Oxford Mindfulness Centre is the link that I've included there, because they provide 2 courses that I would particularly recommend for people new to mindfulness. One is Finding Peace in a Frantic World, and the other one is Mindfulness for Life. And on that page that I've shared, there's information about both, and they also provide lots of simple kind of introduction sessions, so you can decide whether it's for you or not. You know, you can kind of explore it. They're free. And then there's a much cheaper version than or an online session that's provided by Mind, which is mostly through pre-recorded videos, but it makes it a lot cheaper. You can do it in your own time, a lot more accessible and flexible.
Thank you. Sarah?
I just wanted to add, I think I found we did a very small taster of mindfulness, and I think when it comes to people that have got young onset dementia, I think small starters, small tasters are better, because on the first go, one of the people we were trying to be mindful about strawberry, and 5 strawberries later she kept eating them, which is, you know, fine, they're really tasty strawberries. So I think it is what Julia said, it's practice, not to give up if it's something you want to do. But I think maybe for people with dementia, a face-to-face is better. I know that's challenging, but I think with the computer and Zoom and difficulties for some people, I think it's good for people to try and do their small tasters face-to-face and maybe create those opportunities for people.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Sarah. I don't think there's any other questions. Is there anything else from any of our panelists that they would like to finish on? Any other comments? No? Well, thank you so much to everybody for your time today. It's been super webinar. It's been great listening to all of your experiences, and thank you especially to Bev and Kev for coming along and sharing your experiences. I think hearing from you, we had a comment that there was smiles all around listening to your experiences and the fun you've been having in your group with Sara. So thank you for sharing that, and hopefully that will inspire more people and more groups to follow your lead with what you're doing. So thank you. And I can see Tessa has appeared.
Yes, yes. Do you know, that was so enjoyable. That was such a great hour. Thank you so much for your contributions. I think that everything about, you know, nutrition, mindfulness, the great range of activities that Bev and Kevin and Sara introduced us to, they're just so life enriching, aren't they? They're just really boost vitality, but also really lift the spirits. And the smile that Catherine mentioned, that was on my face for the best part of that webinar. Thank you so much. Thank you, lovely panelists. It was marvelous, and thank you to Catherine as well. We needed that on this sort of rather grim grey afternoon, I think. Thank you. I want to just remind you that there'll be a follow-up email, and all the links that, the really useful links that are in the chat will be added to that follow-up email for you. And also, of course, the recording, the link to the recording as well, so that you can share it with other people. I mean, that's one of the really lovely things about these webinars, isn't it? And you can share your experiences even further. I want to tell you about the next one, which is February the 16th, which will be authority. And we've got Wendy Mitchell and in discussion with Billy Hare about Wendy's new book. It's her second book, and it's about what I wish people knew about dementia by someone who knows. And if you've read her first book, you will know that this is well worth attending, well worth the read. So look forward to seeing you all then. But for now, thank you very much indeed for attending, to our lovely attendees and the panelists for the contribution that you've made today. Thank you. Thanks very much.